Greetings, Primordial God, Jason Breyer at your service. As you can see by the title, I wanted to make it's basically telling you what my advice is on content creation for those who want to be a content creator. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that my advice is going to be the stuff that gets you big or it makes it anywhere. Like, there's some advice on here that I don't even keep to very well and I struggle with and do other stuff. And there's always more advice or other things. And honestly, at the same time, you could give someone all the advice in the world and they still may not succeed. It's all dependent on various things. But anyways, I wanted to kind of give my 2 cents on it because I was like, you know what, why not? I'm not a very large content creator, but I mean, everyone has ideas and different thoughts and other stuff. So it's always cool to share. But yeah, so like the different stages of content creation, of like becoming a content creator, are a lot of things. Like for one, you're gonna have to choose the format of your content. Like, are you gonna be doing videos? Are you gonna stream? That's one of the biggest things you gotta decide. Are you gonna make videos, or are you gonna stream, or are you gonna do both? I personally do both, or try to anyway. I stream on Twitch, and then I post those videos on YouTube, and I also make videos of like videos out of some of the streams for content for my main channel, as well as record separate stuff for the main channel as well. So I kind of do both, but that is sometimes difficult to do, especially doing it by yourself. You also got to keep in mind you will be doing everything by yourself most likely. And then like after you've kind of decided that you're gonna make videos, or you're gonna stream, the next thing is to choose a platform, and that heavily depends on what you're doing. And that's why I say you gotta decide that first, because what you're doing depends on what platform. Like for example, if you're going to do videos, you're probably gonna do YouTube. That's pretty much what you're doing. However, if you're streaming, you'll probably do YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook Gaming, because Facebook Gaming is now a thing. It's been a thing for a little while now, which I thought was really weird, but it popped out. So you're going to want to choose your platform. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you which platform's superior, because honestly, each platform has their pros and cons. However, I will note that almost every Twitch streamer has a YouTube channel. Due to the fact that Twitch does only keep your streams on the channel for a max of 60 days once you reach partner. I think it's like 2 weeks if you're not affiliated or partner, and a month if you're affiliated, and then 2 months if you're partner. So you're going to lose streams, and streams are going to disappear from the Twitch channel. So you're going to want to take all those streams and put them somewhere else, which is why a lot of people have an archive channel on YouTube. Now, I don't know how any of the other platforms do. YouTube, you stream, and then the video's on your channel permanently. So I mean, it's straightforward. Facebook Gaming, I know nothing about Facebook Gaming, so I apologize. I've never used Facebook Gaming, but I've used both YouTube and Twitch, so I have a general idea. And then you're gonna want to choose your branding, like your brand, your content, your theme, if you will. And what I mean by this is, like, are you going to be doing makeup tutorials? Are you going to be doing gaming videos or content? Are you going to be doing news, technology, or and more? Like, what is your content going to be focused around? And once you do that, it's going to be, you've kind of decided what your whole theme is. You can start designing your channel, start doing all that stuff. And everything else. Start designing kind of what you want it to be, what your brand will be, everything else. You can start making logos and kind of name and all that stuff. Another thing to keep in mind would be how you want to be shown to your viewers. If you're doing gaming, for example, are you going to want to do a webcam and a view? Or are you going to want to do no webcam? Are you going to want to be a VTuber? Or are you not going to be a VTuber? Now, I'm not going to talk about VTubing much or really at all in this video, because I have another video that already talks about it, If you're interested, I will include a card, I think, somewhere in the video. If not, it will be a link in the video in the description to my VTubing 101 video, which covers a lot of VTubing and like how to, what the process and everything else of it. But yeah, you can figure that out. And then you got to like figure out your software, which is like something that is, very important. Like there's certain software you can use for your webcam. There's software you can use for various other things, and things like that. But like, I can understand another thing that people are gonna talk about real quick is, oh, I don't have the money for all that stuff. Like that, they're so heavy-ended stuff. Like there's like their stuff is so expensive for streaming. Like I don't have that kind of money, or I don't have that money for video content. Not really. It really depends on the person and like what you're really wanting to do. Like there's a channel that I don't know if it's still around, but they used to do like makeup tutorials and other stuff using purely stuff you'd find at like the dollar store or the Dollar Tree and things like that. As well as other things like crafts and stuff you can make with really cheap products. So if you're doing that, webcams, it really depends on the webcam. My webcam was $70 at the time I bought it. So it's like, if you have money, but let's say not a lot of it, you can buy one thing at a time, and you don't need a webcam to start off. Like if you take the VTuber route, you can be a PNG VTuber, which is just literally two pictures. One is darkened when you're not talking, and one lights up and moves when you talk. So like bounces or something like that. You can do something like that. Microphones can be expensive, but it really depends on, again, what you're doing. There's a lot of people who use headsets. So if you have a headset you use that can plug into your computer, just use that. And you can always upgrade as time goes by. That's what most content creators do. They start off with what they have, and as time goes by, they upgrade their equipment. And like if you're like, well, I don't have, like for me, like for example, I'm doing this thing as a VTuber. I'm in my little chatting room where I do my vlogs, and when I do live stream Q&As and other stuff, I sit in here, and you have everything else. Everything in this room, including chunks of my model, are all free assets you can find online. And that is something to note. You can find so many free assets to make something like this, or like stream screens, for example. Like you see a lot of content creators, they have their like when they're streaming, they have their starting soon, their be right back, their live with their live screen, so it shows a little gameplay or whatever, and then their webcam view, and their like ending soon or thing like screens. You can find a lot of those online for free, designed already. I've used a lot of free assets over the time, and eventually it'll get to a point where I use assets I've made or I've had custom designed, including stream music. Stream music is all the stream music I use is free to use, free assets that I've found. A lot of them just ask you credit them, or if they don't ask, it's usually polite to credit them as well. So it's like you can find a lot of stuff to help support you if you can't do it. Again, like I said, webcams, you can find them cheap. If you don't do a webcam view, that's totally cool. There's a lot of successful content creators that have done no webcams, no faces, no nothing. So there's a good chunk of streamers that do it. Like I think H2O Delirious has always kept his face hidden. Like no one knows what he looks like in real life, and a bunch of other stuff. And it's just one of those things. I mean, now he has like a VTuber-ish model. He uses to chat with people briefly, but like a lot of people, they just do no webcam, no VTubing, no nothing. So once you've decided all that, again, software. I got to get back to the main topic. Software for recording, streaming, all that stuff. A really good software to use is OBS. It's very good because it's for one, a lot of content creators use it, and it's pretty easy to set up. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. You create a scene, you add the sources. Um, I'm not going to show anything on screen because I don't have it all set up for doing that. But you start off with like creating a scene there's like 3 sections. There's 4 bars on the bottom. That's all you really need to know of the OBS. You have like the scenes on the left, which is where you you create the scene. You're like, oh, this will be my starting soon scene. And then you pop into the next box. It's like your sources where you add your webcam, your audio, your microphone, your music, your anything you're gonna show in it. And then you have your audio mixer, which is then where you adjust your audio settings and all that stuff. And everything. And then you go with that, and then you have on the far right, you have your controls, which is where it goes like start streaming, start recording, studio mode, settings, exit, blah blah blah, all the various other things. And all that stuff. Mine's a little more advanced because I have other stuff. I have other extensions added into OBS for streaming specific. So I've got like Stream Elements and some other thing. Stream Elements is the main thing, so it's kind of adjusted a little bit of everything. But you get the basic premise of it. It's very self-explanatory. Like if you download it and run through it, I think OBS has the option to explain what you're using it for, and it'll help set it up for you. It's just one of those things. Now, once you've gotten your software like downloaded up thing and you've got everything set up, there's other things you got to keep in mind through content creation, because it's very important, and it's just the kind of tips and tricks, not necessarily tips and tricks. It's just my general advice to keep your mindset kind of there. You're going to be doing a lot of things on like YouTube, if you only do stuff on YouTube, you're always going to be doing something on YouTube, as well as like social media. You're going to be interacting with people on Twitter or Instagram or other social medias or other platforms, because it's good to have a social media presence. I have a very terrible social media presence because I don't talk a lot about things, and I don't like I'm not one of those food bloggers who share an image of what I'm eating every few days or every single day, and I don't have a lot to say. I'm like, oh, I'm not feeling good today, so no stream, or this is happening, or I'm streaming now, or these kind of things. I don't have a huge Twitter, basically like selection going on. That I'm very active on there. I used to be a little more active, but after a lot of my health declining and other things, there was a lot more stuff going on, so I haven't been as active as much. But I don't remember who said it, but there was a thing where someone said on Twitter, I believe it was a thing where they were like, content creation is a lot harder to do because unlike a 9-to-5 job where you start and you clock in at 9, you end at 5, and go home, get to sleep, go to rest, streaming and like content creation itself is a 24/7 job, and it really is. You're constantly doing something. Now that I'm getting back into the thick of things, it's even more so. I'm constantly needing to be editing videos, recording videos, uploading content, making thumbnails if I'm good enough. I haven't made any thumbnails. I'm not a very good artist. I apologize. It is what it is. But you should be making thumbnails. Making descriptions, filling tags so people find my video easier when they look up certain things. Being active on Twitter, making stream schedules, planning out my next few days. I always have to plan weeks at a time. Like, oh, for this all next week, on these days I'm streaming these games at this time. On the days I'm not streaming, I'm recording these things or doing other stuff or whatever. You're always needing to work and always planning out your next project and your next game, your next thing. Oh, once I finish this game, I should play this game next, or things like that. Like when I was doing a lot of my various games I was playing, after I finished, I was like, oh, after I finished Yakuza 0, I'll go straight to Yakuza. They queue on me. And eventually when I beat that, I'll switch over to the next one, and I'll kind of continue the series because I'm really enjoying the series so far. Or I've played the first game of this one, I should after I play another game in between, I'll play the second one, things like that. Because I don't like to play the same series over and over again. Like for example, if I'm gonna do Assassin's Creed, I'm not gonna play Odyssey, for example, all the way through all the DLC and everything else, and then play like Valhalla right afterwards. I don't like to, because then you guys are gonna be like, oh well, this is boring. I've seen so much of this. Ugh. But yeah, it's a 24/7 hour job. There's really no days off. I mean, you should take days to rest and not focus on streaming, kind of just relax and de-stress, because if you don't, you're gonna start getting burned out. You're gonna take a hiatus, and sometimes hiatuses are dangerous because when you start taking time off, it really gets addictive, and sometimes you decide, why was I streaming? Why was I doing all this? Why was I putting stuff all through that stress? And then you end up just quitting and you don't ever return. Others who are really, it really shows who really wants to stream and who doesn't. Because, like for me, I've taken plenty of hiatuses over the time. Some unexpected, some intentional. And there's been times I've thought about, do I want to come back? Do I really want to put myself through all that stress again? And I'm like, it's something I want to do. I want to make this a career. So yeah, I will come back. And I put myself through that struggle every time I go on hiatus or I leave for long periods of time. Another thing is, I know this is really cheesy or it's really common, but just be yourself. Like, if you start acting fake or anything else, people are going to catch on pretty quickly and no one's going to want to be there necessarily for you. But if you're true to yourself, you just make yourself laugh, you have a lot of good fun and everything else, and you're having a good time, you'll probably, I'm not saying you make it big, but you'll attract communities that are like you and you'll grow over time. Another thing is, let's see, I have a list on my right that of things I'm trying to cover. Don't focus on numbers. That's a really big one. With streaming as a whole and content creation, it's very easy to get wrapped up in numbers, and not in a good way. Like, it's cool. Like, you should celebrate. Oh, I've hit 100 people. I've hit 100 subscribers. I've hit 1,000. I've hit 2,000. I've hit 10,000. I've hit 1,000,000. Yada yada. Like, your milestones. Those you should celebrate. I don't deny that. That's a really big thing. You really should. Like I said, it's really cool, really great time, and like it's a really great thing to celebrate because it's an achievement. It really is. And like I said, it's an achievement you should be really proud of. However, it starts getting on that thing as well. You start seeing, let's say you and 3 other people create channels at the same time, and you've hit 25 followers. They've hit 100. You're gonna be like, a lot of times you start getting that, well, how come they hit 100? We started at the same time. What's going on? And you start focusing a lot on that. You start focusing more. You start seeing people growing a lot larger rates. And you're not getting those numbers. And you're like, why? Am I doing something wrong? Like, what's going on? And you have to bring yourself out of that. You shouldn't be like, oh, I only have 40 subscribers. Yay. You should be like, I've successfully gotten 50 subscribers. You have to take you have to take it in stride and take it in a positive way, because if you start focusing too negatively on your numbers, especially, you will eventually drive yourself to quit. I'm really bad at focusing on numbers. A lot of my friends have a way that I've streamed with and I've played games with and chatted with have way bigger followings than me. And I catch myself every so often going, I'm nothing. I'm not getting anywhere. Am I really? I'm small. But then I go back and think, I've successfully reached this many people so far. I never thought I'd reach the numbers I have so far. I mean, I have like, I think 67 followers currently. Or at least that's what I saw when I last streamed, which was 2 days ago, I think. Of me recording this video anyway. So as of making this video, I have like 67 followers, and so sometimes I go, well, I have 67, but I'm like, I have 67. I've gained 67. I never thought I'd reach 60. followers to begin with. I never thought I'd hit 50. I figured I'd start streaming and I'd get nowhere. Another thing to keep in mind is streaming is always going to be nerve-wracking, or not streaming, content creation. Content creation itself will always be nerve-wracking or scary, and you will never feel good enough at what you're doing. It's like with anything. When you make something, you're always going to look at it and be like, that could have been better. Could have been, I don't know. And it's just going to be one of those things. Like when I see stuff in, because I mean, at the time you're making, so like me recording this video, I'm going to see everything and be like right now I feel like I'm doing the best I can do. I'm giving you all the information I have, all my opinions on it, everything else. I'm doing the best I can. But when I go back to edit this or upload it, I'm going to be like, well, I could have done this better. I could have done that. I should have done this. I talk too much on this topic. I could have done better. And really, it's just going to be the way it is. Like when you always make something, you're always going to feel like it was never good enough. You could have done better. And you're always going to have that mindset. It's never going to go away. Most streamers have that feeling. I have it constantly with everything I'm doing. I'm like, nothing I do is necessarily good enough, but I have to keep pushing forward. So you're just going to have to accept that feeling. It's just one of those things. I raised my eyebrows and realized it pays attention. You can see my eyebrows raise. Another thing to keep in mind is, I'm going to talk about this a little bit. It's going to branch off into another topic, which is the bigger one. But to make things easier streaming, first of all, if you stream or anything else, I talk about streaming a lot more because I stream. But I mean, you're going to take and adapt it to your scenario. If you debut as a streamer, know your debut is going to mess up. You're going to be nervous. I think I messed up on my debut originally. I was nervous. And just know that there's a good chance nobody's going to show up to your debut. That's a big thing. That's another thing you should keep in mind. Streaming. You're going to have a lot of times where you're streaming to nobody. And don't just sit there in silence and be like, oh, well, there's no one here. Why should I end the stream? No, fill the space. I saw a thing on Twitter where someone was talking about this. They were like, what do you do with Q&As and other stuff when you have like 0 viewers? And another person popped in there, and I think I liked the tweet. And they were like, don't use your audience to fill the void. What you do is you go on there and pretend you have an audience, like you're on stage in front of a huge people, and you start talking. You start telling stories, you start doing anything else. You fill the void yourself as if there was an audience there, even if there is no audience. And that's a lot of times what I do. You'll see me, I'm always talking, I'm always making comments, I'm always making jokes about anything while I'm streaming. There's always something to fill the void and everything else, and I always make sure to keep the void filled because I don't want long periods of silence. Because unless there's dialogue happening, then I will try to not talk through it. I was told to shut up a lot one of my last streams because I was talking during a cutscene. By one of my good friends. So it's just like one of those things. You're not always going to have... And another thing, you're never going to have the same amount of viewers as you have followers in your stream or video or in your content, ever. Views on YouTube are going to be always changing as more people click on your video, more people rewatch your video, everything else. So you might have like 10 million views on the video, but only have 1 million subscribers. Or you might have 100,000 views on the video, but 1 million subscribers, and things kind of like that. But like streaming, I get like 2 to 3 active viewers and then a bunch of lurkers a lot of times or other stuff. So like, and I like I said, I have 67 followers as of recording this. So it's like, I'm never going to have 67 people in my chat. I think my record is like 17. And that was after a couple of raids, and they didn't stick around superbly long because, I mean, which doesn't have anything against me or the person raiding. It's just the way streaming is. You raid another channel and people pop in and they go, oh, this is interesting, or I'm not really into this game, so they pop out. But when you start streaming, if you can do it, start off with friends. I highly recommend it because when I first started doing content creation back in 2014, I did it under another channel name, and one of my friends wanted to do YouTube videos as well, and he started making YouTube videos. And we started doing stuff a lot together, and that makes it so much easier because now you're not needing to focus on filling the silence. You're bickering with your friends, you're playing a game together. The silence is filled naturally, and it's the game and everything feels more natural. That's why you'll see things are a lot cooler, like when I'm playing Dead by Daylight with my friends like Natagami, Revan, for example. Revan's an amazing person, and absolutely amazing because she just she jokes a lot. She has a lot of the same sense of humor as me, and so we're able to bicker back and forth and make jokes, and it fills the void, and it just makes an overall great experience. All my other friends are really cool as that as well. I'm able to joke with them. We're able to do things, and it's an overall like an amazing experience. That's why I recommend friends. That sounds so bad. That's why I recommend you get a friend. No, that's why I recommend if you have friends that are interested, even if they don't stream or they don't they don't record, they don't make content. See if they're willing to be a part of your streams. See if they're willing to play games with you on stream and everything else, and have their voice or anything heard or anything else. If they are, cool. If not, it just is what it is. But this leads me to the final thing, and I want to talk about this because it's very important to keep in mind because as you grow, you're gonna want to do this, and even when you don't grow, like even when you're a small channel, you want to do it, and it's a hit or a miss. So everyone has the idea, oh, I want to collaborate with other content creators. Now, that is a cool idea. It's a great idea. It's awesome if you can. I like for me personally, I love collaborating with people if I can. I usually keep a strict rule where I meet you first, or at least I speak with you beforehand, before we ever plan a collaboration, if I can. And then like things like that. And then like I don't collab with people who aren't in a similar genre as me. Like I'm not gonna collab with a makeup tutorial channel necessarily. If I'm playing games, like we're not gonna get together and play a game together necessarily. And like if they're a new sports channel, I'm not unless we're playing like a FIFA game together or something like that, and we're talking about the different things in there. I don't. There's not odds are I'm not going to collab with them, things like that. But collaborations are going to be the sad and hard truth about it is odds are a good chunk, if not most, your collaborations are going to fail to happen. And like you're going to ask people, oh hey, first of all, don't ever enter just someone's DMs and be like, hey, you want to collab? They're not going to accept you. My advice in that regard would be to reach out to someone and be like, hey, I've seen your content, I've seen your stuff, you look like a really interesting person. I would love to get to know you more and potentially down the road collaborate. That would probably be more likely to get someone to respond. And at least if they reject you, it'll be nicer. They might actually respond to you in that sense. If you just say, hey, I want to collab, they're probably just going to delete your message. Or not even open it. Because Twitter allows you to view messages without opening them. So it's like, and don't pop in their stream and ask. That's another thing. Don't ask for collabs in streams. You could. I think that some streamers will allow you to email them. I think others will prefer you to reach out their Twitter. Reach out to them and whatever they prefer, and go from there. But another big thing is to keep about is numbers. I know I said don't focus on the numbers, but when it comes to collaboration, do keep in mind that content creation is a very step over another person kind of mindset. It shouldn't be. It really shouldn't. I hate it. I hate the fact it is. YouTube was especially bad about it. So back in years ago, I don't remember what year, YouTube came out with the collaboration corner. Really cool idea. It was absolutely amazing. Absolutely loved it. But I think they got rid of it a few years after. it might still be hidden somewhere. If it is, I'll check it out again, because it was a very helpful place. It was a section of YouTube where you could click on, and it was like all these documents. They gave you video tutorials and tutorials to teach you everything you need to know about how to use tags in a good way. It was tutorials on how to make YouTube content. So like the rules of thumbnail making, like in a strategic way to make it more attractive, so you're not just having an image flat in the center of the screen of your thumbnail. Like what other things you could do to make your thumbnails more appealing to people, how to use your tags and your description, your title properly to optimize your video, and a bunch of other stuff. It was a really cool thing, like what length your video should be minimum to properly be spread out in the algorithm and other things like that. It was very helpful. But then they had a little section which was which was focusing on collabs, where you would go and it was a forum like section where you could post posts, you could post little forum pages where you could be like, hey, I'm looking for a collab, this is what I'm looking for, and people could respond. Now, however, you had to have 100 subscribers beforehand to be able to post on there, which was a little bit of a problem. It's very hard to get 100 subscribers first starting off. Especially back then, it was a lot harder, because I think at 100 subscribers is when YouTube starts pushing your channel for people to see. So once you hit 100, that's the thing to keep in mind. Once you hit 100 is when you'll start growing a lot better. It's just getting to the first 100 is the difficult thing. And so it's like with that, it was very interesting to keep in mind. But a lot of people were very number specific. They will not collab with you if you have the same number of followers than them or less. You had to have, someone would be, if you have the same amount as me, okay. If you have more than me, I will. But if you have less than me, no. Because everyone's like, it's a big, they were very focused on the, what do I get out of it kind of mindset. And content creation is very big in that still, I believe. I mean, I won't say it is for sure. I mean, things have changed so much since YouTube, becoming YouTubers and everything else blew up back in like 2014, 2015 on. But it's like, no one would accept you. Like, you'd reach out and be like, hey, I'm a smaller channel, but I'm looking for advice, or I'd love to collab, if possible. Like there was a few channels I reached out to who were open for collabs with anybody. They said no restrictions, but they wouldn't even look at me, and when I had too small of numbers. And everything else. So it's like, it's what it is. And I mean that could also be on me. Maybe my content wasn't just good enough, or my content wasn't interesting enough to them. They looked at it and they're like, yeah, I'm not really interested in this guy, his personality and everything else, which happens. But do keep in mind, a lot of people who say they're open for collaborations, they don't specify it, but a good chunk of them will refuse you if you're smaller than them. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't ask for collaborations. You shouldn't try to reach out, because there's a lot of people who are large who don't care. I don't care even if I hit thousands, hit in the thousands, if not millions. I honestly won't care how big the other person is, as long as their personality works well with me. As long as we work well together and we can bounce off each other. There's no issues of me making a joke and them getting offended easily, or them making a joke that offends me really easily, or anything else. As long as our personalities kind of blend well together, I don't care. And there's other people who say it. There's a lot of I've been seeing Twitter channels that are larger channels are like, yeah, hey, I love to collab with other people, but I really don't. I don't care what size you are. I don't like reaching out, or don't feel afraid to reach out to me, and those kind of things. And so you kind of just have to take it as you will. And again, don't just start DMing people and being like, hey, I want to collab. Could we set up a collab date? You're not going to get a response. If you just message me and say, hey, I want to collab with you, let's set up a collab date, I'm not going to respond. Or if I do, I'm going to be like, no. Because I like to talk to people first. I like to speak with someone and clarify things beforehand. Because I have a dark sense of humor and a sexual sense of humor. So I like to make sex jokes. you'll see me make quite a few of them during Dead by Daylight, especially when I'm with Revan, because Revan has the same sense of humor as me, and so she'll bounce the jokes back. So I have a great time. So we all have a good time. But like, if people don't like dark humor, or they don't like sexual senses of humor, or there's certain things they don't like they don't like swearing, for example. So if we're streaming together, please don't swear. Okay, I need to know these things. So that way I can, like, write it down. So I could be like, so I can like put a note somewhere in view while we're streaming, that I can be like, or something like beforehand, that I can kind of go over in my head to know, okay, so this person doesn't like this kind of jokes. This person doesn't like this. They don't like swearing. Okay, let's make sure I don't swear. If I feel like I'm about to swear, or if I do swear by accident, apologize. Be like, hey, sorry. Be like, if I say the F word, and they're like, this is a family-friendly channel, I apologize. Also, don't merge brands that don't really need to be merged. Like, if you're family-friendly and you're really heavy on focusing on being a family-friendly channel, don't try to collab with channels that aren't family-friendly. Because some of them aren't going to work with you. If you be like, well, I don't really like, could you not swear during my stream? They're going to look at you and be like, if you don't like swearing and you don't want me swearing, if I'm streaming as well, I'm not going to censor myself for you. Kind of mindset. But yeah, just don't focus too much on numbers, but do keep in mind that a lot of collaborations are focused on numbers, on the whole, what do I get out of it? Because like, if you have less followers than they do, or you're going to gain more than they will. Kind of mindset. And I'm not saying all channels, like I said, not all channels and not all content creators are like that, but that is something to keep in mind. You're going to experience it on quite a few times. But yeah, I don't really have more to add. That's really, like I said, make sure you choose your format. So if you're going to stream or make videos, choose your platform you're going to be on. Choose what kind of content you're going to make, your software. And I'll try to leave links in the description. If I forget, I apologize. They're not, just look it up in as well. And then from what I say, like I said, OBS, which is Open Broadcast Software, shortened to OBS, is really good for streaming and recording. It's what I use for both. And everything else. So it's really helpful. And then, like I said, once you've chosen your software, your content, your platform, your format, you then choose how you want to be shown to your viewers, whether you want to see your face, your VTuber model, no face, no VTubing, nothing, just the gameplay itself or whatever content you're making. And then, like I said, collabs aren't always going to happen. You might get rejected a lot due to your numbers. Don't focus on your numbers. Just work on yourself, work on what you want to do, and grow in your own way. Just be yourself. You'll never feel like you're doing good enough, but you are. It'll always be nerve-wracking or scary. And everything else. Another thing to keep in mind, some people might go, well, I have a fear of speaking in front of people. So or I have troubles. It makes me nervous. I get anxious and everything else, speaking in front of people and everything else, like doing presentations and stuff. Will that hinder me? It won't. It might at first, but it won't hinder you in the end. Real quick, I don't want to take too much longer. The video is getting a little longer than I wanted, but when I first started making YouTube content in 2014, I was very much one of those kind of people who got really nervous and fearful and anxious and would struggle with my words and stutter and everything else or like I would fumble over my words in front of groups. Like, doing presentations in front of people, like in school and everything else, was terrifying. And that was actually one of the reasons why I actually started making YouTube content, because I figured, I basically kept the mindset, whatever I post on YouTube is going to be seen by hundreds, if not thousands, if not millions of people. And I kept that mindset as I made videos. And over time, I got a lot easier to speak and talk to people. I still fumble over my words. I mean, you're always going to, especially if you're talking while you're like, because like I'm doing now. I'm thinking about things I'm going to try to say. I'm trying to talk. I'm trying to explain things and everything else, and all this stuff going on. You're going to stumble over your words. So it just happens. So even if you're like a little worried, you're like, oh, I struggle speaking in front of people, the recording videos and streaming and stuff will help you through it. You might struggle at first, you might be really bad, you might feel embarrassed, but I promise you, as time goes on, it will get better. So don't be too afraid and don't worry too much. And again, if you don't have this stuff for streaming, you can find free assets and stuff. You don't have to show a face. I chose VTubing because I don't like just showing only gameplay. I wanted something you guys could see me as. And I'm, of course, the primordial god. I'm been around for, 4.5 billion plus years. It's been around way too long, but here I am entertaining all the mortals for fun. Who's fun? Who knows? But, I'll drink my no-ed drink here and just have a good old time. But yeah. If you like this video, like to see more like advice, stories, and other stuff, please leave a like, and while you're at it, hit that subscribe button. And if you have any comments, questions, or game suggestions, for example, please leave them in the comments. I do read them. I may miss them sometimes, and I may not respond right away. Again, content creation is a 24/7 job. I'm doing stuff constantly. If I'm not doing that, I'm doing other things. I'm always doing so. I may miss comments at times. I do apologize, but I try to read them all, and respond, or at least leave a like or whatever if I can. And then check out my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/thejasonbrayer. Link to that will be in the description. It's where all my main content happens, where all my Twitch streams go. Start on, and then I'll have a link to my second channel. It's my archive channel, where you guys can see all my previous streams in the past, as well as some other stuff. And then follow me on Twitter at Jason Brayer. So that way you guys can see everything else on there. And I have a Discord server. Feel free to join it. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it though. It's kind of I haven't really had a lot of people joining, and it's kind of just been stalemating. And I don't have the time to manage it myself, so I've been thinking about deleting it. So if people are interested in joining and would love to see it stay, please let me know. I'd love to see more people join, interact. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. And I will see you all in the next one, hopefully. And yeah, if you watch this video and pop into my stream, say hi. Say you came from YouTube. I would love to see you guys from there, from here. It would be really cool. But yeah, thank you all for watching this video to the end, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye bye.